remain a brahmachari for whole life, then Krishna will reveal automatically at some point of time. And that's what Alex's story will tell you. You know why I was telling Alex's story? For this purpose. Now I'll complete the story what happened. Because Alex, the story, Alex attained that stage, but not immediately. अभी तो एक bottleneck आ गया कि शादी करूँ या ना करूँ. तो मैंने एक hurdle सुन ली. For Alex. Are you getting the point? Therefore, we should know this thing, but don't think it is for our practice. What do we have to practice first? Bhajan Kriya. Come to Nishtita Bhajan Kriya. That's our target. Don't jump. Otherwise, you will fall. Trying to climb a big wall. You're not able to climb. You will fall and break your legs. Not to climb again. But go step by step. When we are at a stage of Atma, but we should know we have something higher to attain that love for Krishna. It is possible, the mercy of Krishna. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu attained this love of gopis, just chanted at the time of initiation. He chanted a mantra 2-3 days. He attained that love for the gopis. For Krishna in mood of gopis, in mood of Srimati Radha. But we need to perceive, show us sincerity. So, we have very high goal. Something very high has been given to us. And don't take Bhakti chant. First try to chant it intently. Avoid offenses to devotees. Respect the devotees. This is a fundamental thing you have to first try with. So calm with the Bhakti. Somebody simply by constant thinking of the Lord, those who treat him as enemy attain Brahmjyoti like the yogis. Similar to Shruti is adopting a more similar to the gopis. Now, who want to become the gopis? Vedas want to become gopis. And Vedas heard Krishna's master. They said, no, we also want to become gopis. The last is so exciting. It's cold, you know? It's cold, right? So calm. So calm now definition of okay. The first Gopi is the brilliant example of Kama Bhakti. There is simply prema or pure love for Krishna without a tinge of material lust. The particular type of prema is a special sweetness and zeal to please Krishna. Is called Kama by the line because the cause of various among us. So Kama means refers to desire to gratify one's personal senses and love refers to desire for serving the sense of the Lord. In the material world, everyone wants to gratify one's own senses. The woman, however, wanted nothing at all but to gratify Krishna's sense. Because the gopis' bhakti is a form of exalted prema, great devotee like Uddhava desire to follow their. An example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sannyas. He simply avoided association with women. But still, he told there is no better method of worshiping Krishna than that conceived by the. The Kumcha's attraction to Krishna is due to Kama or Prema? Kama. She wanted Krishna to satisfy her senses. But gopis wanted to satisfy Krishna. So her love cannot be compared to love of the gopis. The Sambandha Rupa Bhakti, it is that Bhakti is found with great absorption and identified oneself by Krishna's parent, friend, or servant of Krishna. This refers to Bhakti of the Raghanuga case. in relationship other than conjugal love. They also have predominance or intense affection for Krishna caused by lack of awareness of Krishna as God. So Kama Bhakti and Sambandha Bhakti exist only on the level of Prema and remain within the Nitya Siddha like Nanda and Yashoda. Now Raghanuga Bhakti is following in the footsteps of Raghanuga Bhakti. Because there are two types of Raghanuga Bhakti, the two types of Raghanuga Bhakti, Kamanuga and Sambandha. In Kamanuga also there are two types, Sambandha Vichamai, Tatbhava Vichamai. You will see what are that. So what is the qualification of Raghanuga Bhakti? One who is greedy for attaining a bhava similarly to the Vrajvasi is qualified for Raghanuga. Lolyam Tadapi Shmogyam. The Lolyam Tadamolyam is set for this bhakti. How many of you agree to attain love like Vrajvasis? We are not yet doing that. We are now trying to understand. Greed is something very higher. Like you have greed to attend placements or not? ये पहले क्या टेस्ट पास करना पड़ेगा तनादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेना कीर्तन्या सदारि नदनं गजनं कसुन्दरेण कवितां वदति. Somebody say I have greed. They should pass this test also. Tanapi, Tarapi, Amanina, Kirtania. Fit do that test. Nadanam, Kavitamba. Then your greed is real. Otherwise, it is. It's struggling, isn't it? So greed of Raghanuga devotee is not dependent on rules of scripture and logic, but is due to lacking the sweetness of love of Vairasi to some degree by hearing from the Raghanuga devotees become spontaneously attracted with the devotees such as Nanda and Yashoda, but they cannot become Nanda and Yashoda. Nanda and Yashoda are the fixed position. Radharani and the principal devotees are fixed position. They can follow in their footsteps and become eager to follow in their footsteps spontaneously. Such eager is not possible unless one is free from mental contamination. That वैसे आनंद दिन से जल्दी करो. It is understood that Raghanuga devotee has developed that greed by studying the scriptures. It's also necessary to study the scripture to understand the proper sadhana for Raghanuga. So how long does a devotee follow scripture rules? Those who qualify for any bhakti are dependent on the scripture rules and their use of logic till they attain Rati or Bhava Bhakti. The Raghanuga sadhaka during practice itself is motivated by greed, and following the scripture based on that greed are not based on fear. Now, what's the methods of practicing Raghanuga Bhakti? Live in Vraja physically or mentally. Like you can be in Bangalore, but live in Vraja. How mentally? While remembering the Vrindavan form of Krishna, remembering the eternal devotees of Krishna in order to develop a mood similar to them, and absorbing oneself when hearing topics about them. That's why annoying verse 8 talks about stay in Vrindavan and constantly hear about Krishna there. So it is for that Raghanuga annoying. Nectar instruction. I think I'm not taking that verse. It's there. The highest stages. And service in Sadhaka Rupa and Siddha Rupa. So Seva Sadhak Rupina means one should serve Krishna in one Sadhak Rupa. Siddha Rupina in one Siddha Rupa. Body which has been internally contemplated, suitable for desire service. With the desire for a particular bhava, following the Vrajvasi like Radha, Lalita, Shakha, Rupmadri, and mentally serve Krishna in one Siddha Rupa. Sarva Damodar Rupa Sanatana in one Sadhaka Rupa and physically serve Krishna in Sadhaka Rupa. You understand what? So mentally serve Krishna in Siddha Rupa, Manjari. But in this world, how you should serve? Like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Sruddha. That is Sadhaka Rupa. We don't wear a sari, say I become Manjari. So much less than the very Bhakti, like hearing and surrender to Guru, which are favorite to one's cultivation level of Bhakti, conducive to one's own center. So limbs of Vedi Bhakti are also followed by Raghanuga Bhakta, but with discretion. They follow this, they will follow the aspired path. They do not meditate on Dharma or worship Rukmani.
Will sincere sadhaka be able to rise to this level of considering to high level?
It's very high level, so don't jump in. We'll complete the story of Alex first. Okay. So we will complete the chapter. So Bhav Bhakti, Kal ke liye. So the shampoo will take this, and I will complete this Raghanuga. And then talk about the story of Alex. So Kamanuga Bhavet Krishna, Kama Rupa Anugamani. That Raghanuga sadhana bhakti, which exhibits an willingness to follow the Kama Rupa Raga Bhakti, or the Siddha Bhaktas, is called Kamanuga Bhakti. The Kamanuga Bhaktis are two types, Sambhog Ichamai, Tat Bhakti. Sambhog Ichamai is cultivated directly giving Kanyaka enjoyment to Krishna. Kedi Tat Parvati Eva. Tat Bhav Ichatmika is cultivated desiring the sweet meal of love of a particular gopi without desiring a direct Kanyaka enjoyment with Krishna. This is a chief type of Kamanuga Bhakti. Now, what is the meaning of this? Explain. This Sambhog Ichamai is directly giving Kanyaka. The Kanyaka is assisting others without a direct or a particular bhava. Qualification of two types of bhakti, either longing for the bhava or the gopis after seeing the sweetness in the deity forms of Krishna the gopis, or after hearing about Krishna's past the gopis, even men can attain this. It's not only for women. Soul is not a man of woman. The intention is to show that in the act of seeing, the assistance of hearing is also sorry. Without hearing, there will be no manifestation of the basic forms of pastime. Hearing about Krishna and gopis, even without seeing, is also effect. The men who became gopis, the sages of Dandakara, their fathers, they became gopis or not? The mental body has nothing to do with spiritual loving affairs. A woman will develop the emotion of the Gopa and Vrindavan, like Draupadi was a Gopa and Vrindavan. Krishna Sakha, Draupadi. So if a Vedi Bhakta desires an amorous relationship with Krishna, but not like that of the gopis, he or she will attain in future the position of the Queen of Krishna and Dwarka. So Vedi Bhakta desires amorous relationship. He will come in. Wait. So those who have decided to take the sweetness of Radha and Krishna Vrindavan, but worship according to Vedi Bhakti, do not attain Krishna and Dwarka because they do not have the aspiration. Nor they attain Radha Krishna and Vrindavan because they do not follow the Raga Marga. Since they follow Vedi Marga and have a predominance of Vedas of Krishna and Vrindavan, they attain Radha, Krishna and a portion of Vrindavan called Aishwarya Goloka. The place where Krishna resides with majesty. Krishna showed Aishwarya Goloka planet to the Gopas after Nand Maharaj was kidnapped by Varuna's sister. Krishna did this in order to illustrate the special sweetness of Vrindavan to them. Sometimes Aishwarya and Goloka is called as Vaikuntha. Krishna doesn't have a plant of Vaikuntha. So Gokula versus Goloka. Mathura has two parts. Gokul and the city of Mathura. Gokul is known for its swims of nets, and Gokula has a majestic part called Goloka. So Gokul is in greater than Goloka. Even in Raghanuga Bhakta, when he followed him, some favorite who aspired Bhava, like Dwarka Dhyan, Rukmini Puja alongside, and he will also go to Dwarka to become the queen of Krishna. So what you meditate, Yam Yam Bhapi Smaran Bhava Tilatyante. Whatever Bhava you want to serve Krishna, that Bhava you attain. Are you getting understanding this point? So those who worship Radha and Krishna and Aishwarya, they go where? Aishwarya. They don't go to Vaikuntha.
Gokula is greater than Goloka.
So Gokula is a way where the actual pastime is happening of Krishna in Madhurya. What is seen in the Bhagavad? The saintly sons of Agni perform Devi Bhakti, achieve bodies of women, attain Lord Vasudeva as their husband, not lover. Mahakurma Prana. So now Goswami giving examples where people attain different kinds of forms in the spiritual world. So till now, see for example, initially you know IIT में जाना है, IISc में जाना है, but when you actually get it, then you realize that कौन सा branch लेना है. So it is like taking a branch. Then now we know where to go back to. कौन सा branch? Goloka, Gokul, Vaikuntha, Madhurya, Vasudeva, Dasya, क्या branch है? But first prepare to enter. तो कंप्यूटर साइंस के लिए ज्यादा रैंक चाहिए होती है, तो गोलोक के लिए ज्यादा इंटेंस भक्ति लगती है. पैकेज क्या है? पैकेज बहुत हाई है. सबका पैकेज हाई है.
Is this the choice or is it is as per the Sarup? Sarup. It is not the choice of a person.
When you do bhakti, automatically it will make it.
Is there the Swarupa for Vaikuntha also?
Sarupa Mukti. Right? Generally, people get the 400 form of Lord Narayana, but people can become tota, trees, and all that form also according to their desire. So it is based on desire, it's not based forced.
And the desire will be based on the Swarupa. The Swarupa.
I think it can be. But that tota is not like the tota of this world. Everything is spiritual. And they can change any form at will also.
That means Gokul.
Don't know the same, but here the distinction is being mentioned.
One who is in that, can he go directly to Golu? If he desires there?
No, Gokumar has to come back. Do it sadhana.
Ultimately, it is desired, not Sarupa.
There are certain devotees, mercy, so many things. So, you understand the town on the
Aishwarya is confident that worship करते हैं वो लोग.
But rather, see what happens in our temples. So we desire the sweetness of Radha and Krishna and Rama, but do very well. And also go to follow. Not Vaikuntha. That's the point. So Sambandhanubhakti Sambandhanubhakti Prochate Satvidakti Ya Pitravadi Sambandha Manana Rupana. They already define it as that. bhakti in which there is a constant contemplation of oneself as a parent, friend, or servant of Krishna, identifying with that. So thinking oneself to be Nanda or Subala is offensive. But following Nanda or Subala and cherishing the idea of being Krishna's father or friend is desirable. Very point. You think, when Nanda Baba wants out. Offensive, you want to replace his position. But to love. Right? There are many elderly men. They also love Krishna like their son only. But Krishna directly son of Nanda Baba. So you cannot become Nanda Baba. You can become like other Gopas who love Krishna. This is worshipping the Lord, thinking that one is identical to him is not proper. Similarly, worshipping the associate when thinking that one is identical to them is not proper. Because their forms are eternal, like the Lord's form. One will commit offenses the associate of the Lord by thinking of occupying their identities. It's like Moyaga. The Bhakti service, which will be performed the Sadhaka Rupa and Siddha Rupa by the Sadhaka. Therefore, the mood and action of Subhalananda and others having described Bhakti, so the devotee can perform similar service mentally in one Siddha. So 10th canto is all the details of this Raghanuga. In what carpenter Hastinapur worshipped a deity form of Krishna as his son, following the footsteps of Maharaj on the session of me. He performed physical service in his sadhaka there, thinking the deity was directly Krishna. Something important? I asked Keshav Prabhu. No, I asked, but the problem is what? 10 o'clock class will over. Then 10:30 program will happen. Then when to do? No, 1 o'clock के बाद ही कर सकते हैं. We can actually do. That's good idea. No. We will announce out of the class. If we announce down, they won't come for the class. They'll come on the class. We'll do it in the afternoon time. But you inform them now, they won't come in the morning. I will come. It will take 7:30 for me. So in old carpenter Hastinapur worship a deity form of Krishna as his son. Following the first session of Maharaj in the session of Bhagavati, he performed physical service in Sadhaka there, thinking the deity was directly Krishna. He does attain the perfection of having Krishna as his son. He attained the perfection of being a coward in Vraja, having son as his son. Krishna as his son, just like Krishna became son of all elderly Gopas during the Brahma Vibhavan. So King Prabhakar had no son, he did not desire one. So he performed his sadhaka thinking the deity was directly Krishna. And he thus attained the perfection of having Krishna as his. So he attained the perfection of being a coward in Vraja, having Krishna as his son, just like Krishna became son of already Gopi during Brahma Vibhavan. Prabhakar had no son, he did not desire one because he thought that it was his karma. Think of Krishna as son, he stormed in with Abhishek exactly. He did not pray for his son. But a Lord himself became his. So Prema respected with those who constantly engage with the Lord as their husband, son, well-wisher, brother, father, or friend. Narayana views of the cause of Raghanuga retained with the mercy of Krishna is by devotees. Some call this type of devotion Pushti Marg, Gulavacharya. Pushti Marg, they follow Krishna as son. So this is the Raghanuga Bhakti. Any questions about this? Iske liye Raghanuga Bhakti. It's a very new concept. No? ऐसा भी होता है करके we never thought. I said Bhakti Shastri is very open eyed. Whatever you never thought in past is there. Right? So what do you feel about this?
High level.
Very high level. Yes, forward currently it is like high level. Like a 5-year girl thing, start to beget a child. So possible. It should be over. Still maybe have to But the process is there. Just to eat food, don't get diseases, then get married. All that she has to do to get a child on that. See, now 5 years age she married also, then also she won't get a son. She has to grow to that age, puberty. Then she has to get married. She has to. So all that take process or not. So because you have to grow up beyond another stage and marry to Krishna. It's become very attached to Krishna. Then this Raghanuga. Lalyam Tadapi what?
Yes, since Raghanuga is reached after Sakti, so there is this Raghanuga sadhana, and where is the sadhana? I mean, what there that sadhana and this sadhana is completely different.
Very sadhana, Raghanuga sadhana. Yes, very sadhana, your heart is getting purified. And your sadhana Lord is Aishwarya. But Raghanuga is where you forget at Aishwarya. And loves are not like a child, friend, or a husband, or a lover. It is Raghanuga.
Somewhere I heard in this Himalayan series or somewhere that goal of variety sadhana bhakti, Raghanuga bhakti.
For Gaudiya Vaishnavas. But for others, very sadhana bhakti, they will go to Vaikuntha or Aishwarya Goloka.
This means my Vaidhi sadhana bhakti as we go ahead. So Raghanuga sadhana bhakti is only asakti and bhava. So means those who go to Vaikuntha, so they don't reach bhava means.
They will read Bhava Prema, but without Raghanuga. So they will always have Aishwarya Bhava. They will have Prema, but in Aishwarya Bhava.
No doubt that means as you say that only in this one day of Brahma at this point when Mahaprabhu comes we get this bhakti. So now means other ages and all when people are performing. So their swarupa might be different. So but they don't have that opportunity to go to Golokana. So how does it work?
Krishna's first. You're fortunate Krishna chosen this time to come.
But even though Swarupa now means someone Swarupa will go to Vaikuntha, so even you may perform this Ravana, you will not go to Goloka.
If somebody first performed Raghanuga Bhakti, will not go to it.
What if it
So only for Goloka.
Swarupa is
But Dwarka he may go if he desires like go in some Dwarka, but not Vaikuntha. The Raghanuga sadhana is not there to go to Vaikuntha. It's only for going to Vrindavan.
Gaudiya Vaishnava, maybe someone has that Swarupa Vaikuntha.
So you will just do Vedi Bhakti, not enter. See one thing. Have you heard ISKCON having camp for Raghanuga sadhana? So not every sadhaka will do Raghanuga sadhana. See, and how Raghanuga sadhana happen is not that you have to externally practice. Automatically Krishna will reveal when you become qualified and automatically inside it will happen. You don't have to do any camp for Raghanuga sadhana. So whoever is qualified, automatically it will happen. If his Swarupa is Vaikuntha, they will not think about Raghanuga sadhana. And what had happened is now many people became Sahajiyas practicing the Raghanuga sadhana. They'll take a Chandriyan, Gopi, Krishna. One example I give, I say, I'm Sakhi of Radharani. And still one boy is in his custody captured. Teaching Raghanuga sadhana. It's very dangerous this is. Many Babaji say, you come to me, I will give you Sutpranani mantra. Your Swarupa will come. Many Babaji will know. Many Scott devotee have become cheated into that. giving Prabhupada and going to the Slavadis. That is why the subject matter is very important to know. But when you know it, what it is, then it doesn't create so much excitement in understanding. But you're not knowing it. Everything is in proper. Chaitanya Charitamrita is all that only, no? It's spontaneous love of the gopis, Mahaprabhu in that moment. Antalila. Till Mantalila is okay. From Antalila is all, that way Raghanuga only you see Chaitanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not getting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu singing a filmy song.
Is Raghanuga is without opulence? Is it like that?
Huh?
Raghanuga is like without opulence. That's no opulence being had. Is it like that? Aishwarya.
There's no sweetness.
Sweet.
You want Aishwarya? Sweetness is more, than opulence. Like here, opulence of whole world, but nobody in the world.
Truly, no. Goal of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is what?
Now it will depend person to person. Means to purify our heart to love Krishna. To love Krishna in what mode? That depends people to people. Sometimes.
Like developing a spontaneous loving service to Krishna when we say.
Not everybody will have that goal.
But Gaudiyas have that.
Prem Bhavat Mahan.
So
Kachit Ramya Kachit Vas. Prajavatam. So how you want to worship Krishna? Like Prajavatam.
So the Gaudiyas have the aim to become Raghanuga sadhanas.
To go to Vrindavan and love Krishna deep, intimate. Okay, now we come back to Alex's story.
Oh.
So what happened that time? He did Achitan trying to push Krishna.
Was married after a few years. I recently married with his wife.
And this we read, right? And now Achitan seriously faced a place of judge.
Achyutananda seriously devotional.
It's a very loud voice getting online there on it.
Raghanuga seriously appraised his devotional life. In retrospect, he could see that laxity in his devotional ways and offenses to the Vaishnavas and the holy names were the primary causes of his weakened state. Although he was rock steady in attending the morning program, Achyutananda was often inattentive, especially during the Japa field. Although he had good relationships with the Vaishnavas, he was prone to point out their effects to the third parties. He remarked that he had once neglected a senior devotee who was known to have had a difference of opinion with his spiritual master, and that he had sometimes resented his GPC over management issues. As a result of these transgressions, he thought, I have lost the holy name's mercy. Thus, over the years, the spiritual strength he had enjoyed as a new devotee had waned to a shadow of its original mind. Where was the inno- innocence, the simplicity, the bliss he had tasted before becoming a senior devotee, an advanced devotee, and authority to be respected? For the first time, since he had become a devotee, Achyutananda's determination to face the challenges ahead of him waned. He took a 2 week leave from the temple and went to the farm to chant, read, pray to the deities of Radha and Krishna, and to be with Gaurahari. This brief respite, especially the long talks with his friend that sometimes stretched into the late hours of the night, gave him a new lease on life. Offenses, aparadha, to the holy name and to Vaishnavas, they stunned and even approved the devotees, devotional creepers. Even well-intentioned and serious devotees like Achyutananda may inadvertently commit offenses. At such times, the offenses should be identified and rectified lest they cause devotees a fall from the path of bhakti. In his usual natural, God-natured way,
Good nature.
good-natured way, Gaur Hari stressed that Achyutananda must immediately rectify his offences to Vaishnavas, great and small, and beg for their forgiveness. He then suggested that in addition to his strict external practices, Achyutananda be more attentive to his inner spiritual development. Gaur Hari, what is your goal of your practices? Love of Achyutananda, love of God, Gaur Hari. And what kind of love of God will you develop? For which form of God? Achyutananda, like that of Brajavasis for Krishna in Vrindavana, Gaur Hari. And are you doing that? Achyutananda was about to reply yes, but caught himself. He realized that he had been so absorbed in preaching, in setting a good example, in regularly reading Prabhupada's books, that he had neglected the very purpose of these activities, developing the mood of attachment to Krishna. In the silence that followed, Gaur Hari revealed a side of himself previously unknown to Achyutananda. In Sridhamati's
His wife.
Sridhamati's presence, Gaurahari spoke of their past difficulties in controlling their mutual physical attraction and how on occasion they succumbed to it. But by developing the attachment to the deities, husband and wife had brought the attraction under control. By cultivating attachment to the deities, they had actually neutralized their sex desire. In an typically sober way, Gaurahari predicted that the emerging attachment to Krishna had already filled their hearts would not only eradicate their material attachments and become the source of all auspiciousness, but it would also awaken their ecstatic devotion. That ecstatic devotion would be the seed from which for Krishna would sprout. Gaurari suggested that Achyutananda practice devotional studies with a new meditation. How to develop ecstatic devotion to Radha and Krishna. He cited a letter in which Srila Prabhupada had encouraged the devotee to make
It's not talking about Raghanuga sadhana. It's talking about heartfelt devotion, sir.
Srila Prabhupada had encouraged the devotee to make his every act a conscious offering of love of the Lord. Gaurari concluded, in this way you will experience ever increasing bliss and a desire for marriage will vanish. The two results of devotional service and practice are the destruction of material miseries, kleshagni, and appearance of all auspiciousness, Shubhada. Rupa Goswami defines sadhana
So
bhakti.
he was doing mechanical devotion. So now what happened? Achyutananda concentrated more on becoming a Vaishnava than nothing like that. He moved his heart like inclination because of seniority by years of position and inspiration is achievement. As he approached his 40th year, he was attentive to chant the holy name with feeling, and he called out to Krishna for mercy. He read from Srila Prabhupada's book and listened to Vaishnavas more with the view of developing pure devotion and according philosophical knowledge. In his dealing with devotee and non-devotees alike, he always tried to follow instruction to not be sincere. With time, the attraction in his heart for female companionship subsided. And as predicted by his Vanishtha, the desire for marriage disappeared. As it did, he gained self-confidence, strong faith in the persecution. He spoken with Govind Bhaga on last visit, and the 18th sannyasi smiled and said, "You passed the test, I'm very proud of you." You want to know what happens? He passed the test by avoiding offenses and thanking with affection and diligence. Suspense. The philosophy of Krishna consciousness is no longer the jumble of disconnected thoughts. Achyutananda had grabbed in the thoughts. There is a synergistic whole that gave him piercing insight and principle of the devotion service and the word preaching of the institution. Controversies such as the electric issues, his condition of the body matter, and the jealousy controversy in the past addressed passionate rhetoric. He now sees it as dispassionate wisdom. In this way, after gaining mastery of his senses, Achyutananda brought his power of speech under control. And taking shelter out of goodness, he finally built in his mind, began fixing pure devotional service. He came to face the insufficient previous nature on his issue of his career. With the help of strong association, so he became now into state of Nishtha. So now Pushta Krishna became the president of the downtown temple. Subsequently, Achana was given the responsibility of guest and overseeing the lunch program in addition to duty as a head of the university. Pushta Krishna, a new farm president, and decided to bring the Kartik Pilgrim to Vrindavan and Mayapur. And they met Govinda Maharaj there. And Shilavati would stay back to watch Radha Krishna. Gauri was also coming back. Achananda had been to the Holy Dham many times, but this time was special. The company of Govind Maharaj, Pushta Krishna and Gauri actually came to the next discourses, and especially Purushottam month were like monsoon showers and after Achananda budding Krishna conscious. And that bud opened one petal at a time. Achananda felt emotions he read about in the nectar of devotion. This emotion reminded him of the day Sri Prabhupada's mind front from picture. He occasionally tested his emotion while distributing books in the midst of great people. And during exceptional Japa session, Achananda was feeling excess. One day while visiting the Krishna Bala Mandir, he entered into conversation with disciple Sri Prabhupada. The conversation ultimately turned to the subject of spontaneous devotional service and how it was the duty of all of Sri Prabhupada's followers to cultivate it. Achananda was also he had read and discussed Sri Prabhupada's many words of caution about spontaneous devotion, especially as it is practiced by Sajjad and Babas in Vrindavan and elsewhere. He felt uncomfortable discussing such an elevated topic while studying the temple courtyard. There. So he tactfully excused himself and returned to the nearby ashram. And he pondered. And he thought, let me take guidance of my Guru Maharaj. And he goes to Govinda Maharaj. He knew how strict this special master was, especially the topic of imitated devotion service. But Achananda was pleasantly surprised with the ease of prayers when Maharaj received solution. You should know as well that regulated practice of sadhana and spontaneous love is our sadhana. However, regulated principle eventually lead to spontaneous cultivation. Prabhupada has guarded about watching these things, but he wrote them about extensively in his book. Read his Chaitanya Sarita to understand what our Acharya has written on the subject. If he does instruction apply to you, consider deeply how you would incorporate them into your life. At the same time, externally conduct yourself in exactly the same way. So, this is how the Acharya journey is going. First, he has to cross the stage of Nishtha. He desired to get married, then he overcomes that desire, then went ahead to. Sachinanda was honored with the trust which the master had shown. So he also remembered when Maharaj was testing him. So he understood teaching of Raghanuga Bhakti without making a public issue. Govind Maharaj was willing to discuss the matter further. If he could not, Sachinanda could express which the master was learning and continue guiding us before. Sachinanda's interest in Bhakti was fueled partly by the influence of his Vrindavan business and partly by what he had read in scripture. This is a beginning of spontaneous devotion mixed with regulative, Raga Vedi Bhakti. So he started. And the path most suited to ISKCON in his members. Now he attained perfection. Now he came back. He was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. He was a little careful to read the confidential pastimes and all that. And then Pushta Krishna warned him, don't think this is more important. He said, preaching and tasting with Bhakti are inseparable. Both are important. Don't stop preaching. He fixed his mind attentive to the Gayatri mantras. And while chanting Japa, could recall the past and read in Vrindavan and the other old kids visited there. And now spontaneous devotion began. So by studying Shabhama instructions by during life Bhakti, became credited to Achananda that his divine grace did not want therefore devoted doubling. The devotee free from most unwanted habits could cultivate it, provided the effects. And slowly started preaching there. And he continued preaching and cultivated with Bhakti there. Eventually, Govind Maharaj passed away. Then he further got guidance from there. Now he asked, Achananda asked a question, how will my spirituality be revealed? Because he was troubled that Govind Maharaj's spiritual answer may go and I may not reveal. So Govind Maharaj answered, I'm waiting for the empowerment from Sri Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya to reveal something. If it does not come to me by the time you're ready to know your Siddha Deha, then the Holy Name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will personally reveal to you. Do not be anxious. Have faith in Shiva's mind. Then again he repeated students. In time, everything will repeat, and he ended with this fine Mahashachara. So I wanted to know is Siddhartha. So it took, but he said you're not yet qualified. But then he went to Mayapur. So first he was reading Pustak Krishna, then he was reading books about Radha Krishna Leela. He was entering, taking the yatras, and many things happening in his life. So at the stage of 50, 60, when he's become almost a pure devotee. You know? See, it took long journey. Are you don't understand? It's not a one day. It takes a long journey. Huh? So first he has to go through so many things. First dedication, first this, first that. Nachutananda had become a true sadhu, friend to all. Devotees and conditions also alike. Those who came in contact with Achyutananda felt that from the tone of his voice, the softness of his glance, truth of his words, they instantly understood that he was not taught to exploit them. And through though recognition as a saintly devotee brought the element of fame distinction, Achyutananda did not succumb to this certain impediment to his spiritual life. Rather, he remained straight in his spiritual practice and pure at heart. He never forgot he was servant of others. He systematically studied proper books, and he read translation book by previous Bhakti Acharya with permission of Dev. He read Chaitanya Charitamrita with great relish there, and his heart is becoming more and more pure. But what had happened? This God Hari, he started following some Babari in Vrindavan, and he was about to give even Prabhupada. That time Shilamati came to this Achyutananda, please help him. The Achyutananda talked to God Hari, and there and on there. And then Gaurav, he stayed back, but he found all his taste had gone away. So this happened. But during the morning program, I was going to speak to Pusha, just a phone call from Shirley. She was full of anxiety as she related the person she had with Gaurav. On his last shopping trip to Vrindavan, my husband took initiation from the Radhakrishna Babaji. Acharya was shocked. She was please come and talk to him. He said that since the temple will kick him out anyway, he's going to India as soon as he can. Acharya gathered his wits enough to reassure her, and after he had hung up, he went straight to his room. How was this possible? Bhavani was impulsive, but not crazy. He was Rasika, but he knew the goddess is not. He's too eager to know his Siddhartha, Acharya thought. And then Acharya was right. It was easy to convince Bhavani because he is straight from the path of pure devotion. And then everything else said, Gaurav, do you really think Prabhupada is a deviant? Gaurav would not reply. His seventh figure is being. The when pressed, he answered with a shout, no. Sri Prabhupada will never deviate an inch from the truth. The Gauravi's defense succumbed. And now he understood. I wanted to know my Manjari Sarupa and get carried away. By Krishna's mercy, Gauravi doesn't disperse. And like funny friend is friend crying, please help me, please save me an offense to my Guru Maharaj and Shida. So too immaturely going into it, what happens? But on the other side, Achyutananda was very careful. Very, very important. And finally, Achyutananda once went with Pusta Krishna to Mayapur, and there in Mayapur, Lord revealed his Siddhadeya. Achyutananda could not help see that his original sin was that of a gopi. Attraction to Krishna became so strong that he began to overpower the regulating motive, such as raising and adherence to rules. Simple. Yeah. But it never broadcast his violation. Continue his service in sadhana as he always had. He led Saturday Harinam through the tourist district, helped organize yearly Rath Yatra, played an active role in celebrating special days like Janmashtami. He gave wonderfully advice and inspired classes. But he never strayed into rooms of Leela and his speaking, nothing beyond understanding was ever listener. Once he gave a class on Radhashmi that he thought had crossed the line, although no one else agreed. After that, he preferred to serve the Giri Shrimati Rani and listen to other classes over the speaker system. Some devotee person that he takes sannyas and becomes a temple home ground once. But Achyutananda declined because it will push him more into limelight. And he also started, but he had realized his sadhana. And then he got to Mayapur. And they chanted and Krishna gave him. But nobody knew. Arjuna passed away without anybody knowing what is his sadhana. So I mean to say, you keep following Prabhupada's teaching, will get perfection one day. But you have to pass through this. So what is written here is not a theory, it is practical responsibility. If they are faith. See, this may be real story, but Maharaj just put it in an allegory story, where the names and things are not matched. Maharaj writes, these names are not. I think Govind Maharaj, Prabhupada. There's no sannyasi like that in this country. So they may have some real story, or Maharaj understanding would have written that we do not know. But how the progress happens of a devotee, Maharaj has written. The people attain Raghanuga Bhakti, Bhakti, or
That book contains this complete story only.
I have took from that book only. पूरा पढ़ा ना हमने. But डिटेल में नहीं गया because उतना relevant भी नहीं है. Want to see that Maharaj detail that can read. So now it's next morning during Mangal Aarti. Acharya prayed to Lord Gauraga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always looked merciful. But when Acharya returned to his room, he was still uncertain about what to do. There were only a few days left until the Shri returned to the West. Krishna would go, what should he do? Leaving his cushion, his legs crossed, listening to singing bird, Acharya dozed off. In his sleep, he was again before the altar Panchatra, this time alone. Again, he prayed for guidance. This time, Acharya stepped toward, this happening in the dream, and the temple floor, towering above Acharyananda. Acharya was overcome with this. He fell before the two lords and then looked up. Lord, if you say, return to your place of service, continue service there. For the mercy of Lord Raghanuga, you will achieve perfection and do not doubt. Acharya bowed before the two lords and felt a lotus swing on his head, overcome with ecstasy, he fled. After he came to Acharya aware and calmed himself, he informed Krishna what is doing. The Lord had answered the question, given his order, better make the most of the next few days. So once in the West, they continued serving Acharya related his attainment confidentially to Lord Hari, who bathed his friend in tears of all joy. During the day, Acharya offered his service. At night, he continued to cultivate the rasa he had begun in man. As long as he remained in this world, Krishna continued to guide him, and when the inevitable happened, his Krishna also passed away. There. Now Acharya had come to the platform of, and Acharya also left. And Gauri was the only person who knew his perfection. But Acharya told, don't tell anybody. At the end of his natural life, he said only he was a pure devotee. He loved Prabhupada and Swan, and he loved preaching in the path of profession. Prabhupada gave us the obituary section in Bhakti Gauri, include the large words of Bharat. The ISKCON world, most of which had hardly known Acharya, took moment to notice that another devotee had gone back to Gauri. But nobody understood what has happened. Because such pure devotees don't want to reveal it, that they have come to the platform of the holy name of Acharya now chanted was imbued with rasa, and the master he perceived came from his spiritual life. Acharya's first profession was to awaken his permanent mood as a Manjari of Srimati Radha. As he continued to chant the actual manner of devotion gradually awakened, In one nocturnal encounter, Achyutananda met his spiritual master in his gopi form and came to understand the 11 aspect of his own spirituality, such as his name and services. In another encounter, he perceived himself as a gopi serving Radha and Krishna and Bhajan. The 11 details of a devotee's Swarupa were revealed either by spiritual master from spiritually derived scripture or by the holy name and described in Shanti. So he was and he came and went on that. So, but what we need to do? Follow the process seriously. What you do? Live life according to those principles. But God, after he completed the offense, it took time for it to again regain the test. But God doesn't seem to have attained perfection, not mentioned, we don't know. But Achyutananda, by his dedicated service for the mission of Srila Prabhupada, he attained the grace. In the deep silence. Any questions?
So wanted to know what you must have, like, what consider Raghanuga been doing in starting? Like he was getting those results.
He didn't respect his authority. He disrespected some devotees. Committed a crime.
One thing though, I missed that part. Somewhere it was made out of books he read, like what I missed that part.
And now Acharya's commentaries.
Then his superiors asked him to read.
Somebody was guiding him. He was not independent. That was very important. He took permission from his guru and his mentor.
Raghanuga Bhakti is pointing
Raghanuga.
the move.
Rupanuga means falling in footsteps of Guru Goswami.
This converse is saying
No, there's a difference. We are all Rupanugas, followers of Guru Goswami.
he gave a term to Raghanuga.
Right.
So it's
Being Rupanuga doesn't mean you're following Radha.
But the thing is that my question is like this one is using mode of like that move, devotion service. How can the pitching can happen? How the both are same? Like one mode are different, pitching is different. How they
We're
are.
preaching about this only, na Bhakti.
But the move.
See, you can directly do Raghanuga sadhana. First, Vedic sadhana.
In Vedic sadhana, pitching is there. But in Raghanuga.
Also, preaching is there. So after I came to Raghanuga sadhana, I was doing preaching. See, one is external, one is internal. Both are same. Now, when Kumar goes to Vaikunta, goes to Borobudur, rather than say one person is looking for Krishna, go and preach to him. Prabhupada also came from a spiritual world, not to preach. So preaching was also bhakti, na? Krishna.
Raghanuga Bhakti is like serving Krishna in that mode. They are like in that mode. So
But with that mode, you also go and preach people and bring other people also to Krishna.
preaching jnana is involved. In Raghanuga Bhakti is
I don't know. You can use jnana. You may be preaching bhakta, but you can use jnana for others' welfare. You're not using jnana for your sadhana. You're teaching jnana. Right? Even people working also go as HR, right? But they're companies the code, they may be managers or they may be software engineers, they also go for HR. So when they go for HR, they're functioning as HR. But their main position is software engineer, whatever the topic.
But I understood the Vaishnavi sadhana bhakti is there. So following the rules and regulation, all the limbs everything. And finally there is Ashwarya. Like Narad we have Ashwarya for. You didn't have that well for Krishna. So and Raghanuga sadhana needs to be without Ashwarya. But to ultimate start practicing Raghanuga sadhana, one have to perform the Vaishnavi sadhana bhakti. So that he is cleansed from his heart is
It will come cross Nishtha, come to
cross the Nishtha.
Ruchi Asakti Bhava.
And so, and this you also mentioned that this Raghanuga sadhana is more internal and Vaidhi sadhana is more external. But once,
See, very sudden, there are no emotions much. You just do it.
but Narad Muni had
That comes is a bhava and prayer.
okay.
So the practice of sadhana, emotions may not be there, but still you do it.
So Narad Muni, what he was,
He's a prema.
he's Vaidhi, Vaidhi. It is mentioned.
See, means premi bhakta became through Vedic sadhana.
Okay,
But it's a premi bhakta now.
because in the book it was mentioned is a Vaidhi sadhana.
Means became a premi bhakta through Vedic sadhana. That's the meaning. That's Vedic sadhana. He's an eternal form, Bhagavan. He's Guru of all. He's there in all Leelas of Krishna. How can he be sadhana?
Actually, there it was written as
Maybe Narayana pointing to himself.
yeah.
Devotees were not enough.
There is difference of how only. It means sadhana same and taking bhava for difference.
So Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, the when Narad Muni develops that love, so is now it is premis, like that is not discussed here. What is that?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's more than that.
If Vaidhi sadhana is external, and Ravana sadhana is more internal, and it is without Ashwarya. But when the love is with Ashwarya, then it is neither in Vaidhi sadhana and neither in Raghanuga sadhana. Then what is? Like,
Maybe the attendance of devotees. So this is a very important topic what we discussed today. Another very important, because I wanted devotees to be physically there. I don't think you understood what we discussed. A little high.
Yes, sir.
A little high subject matter also.
Could you reiterate the difference between Raghanuga and Raghanuga?
So Raghanuga, the perfected devotee, and those who follow in the footsteps of Raghanuga are called Raghanuga. Anuga, they are following.
Oh.
we just my that question. It's not like those who are in Vaidhi sadhana doing, but didn't develop the Ashwar, like had Ashwar about, like Narad Muni. So they are neither Raghanuga, they are neither Vaidhi sadhana.
What of Premi Bhaktas?
They-
They have attained perfection through Vedi Sadhana Bhakti. Right? When Narada was a boy, he did which type of bhakti? Vedi Sadhana. Then he attained Prema from the Lord.
So they are referred who have attained the love, they are Premi Bhakta.
That is perfection.
And this Raghanuga
They
sadhana,
will also attain Prema.
they have
But Prema without Aishwarya.
okay.
They have attained Prema with,
Ashwar,
they will attain Prema without.
Ashwar.
Aishwarya.
In three foods,
So they could be Sakya with Aishwarya, right? Arjuna. They have Sakya, but they also have Aishwarya for Krishna.
No, this is
But when classes, no Aishwarya. Only Prem.
It has to be Aishwarya.
Otherwise, how will you serve? No, but in Vrindavan, Dasya could be there without Aishwarya. It's like you're serving a person who may not be Supreme Lord, but you want to serve it. That kind of Dasya, like Rakta and Chikta Patra. So they don't know Krishna's the Lord, but still they want to serve Krishna.
So can you understand where the sadhana bhakti ultimate goal is to achieve love, and Raghanuga sadhana itself contains love in complete process.
No, it's still also a practice to attain intimate love for Krishna. Those terms will come, I think, there in this. Will come the Prem Bhakti. It's open page number 155. There are two types of prema. 11 verse 11. Mahatma Gyan is the prema, love with knowledge of Krishna's power and Godhead. Right? And Keva prema, love with knowledge of Krishna's sweetness only in Vrindavan, not even Mathura and Dwarka. So, those who do Raghanuga Bhakti, they will attain Keva prema. Those who don't do Raghanuga Bhakti will attain Mahatma Gyan. So all those categories what you're asking is there in the prema.
it seems like the subject matter is very detailed and diverse. Looks like the subject matter is very detailed and diverse.
Diverse, how diverse?
Big.
Big, huh?
Very diverse. When will you understand?
First come to Nishtha. First give a desire for 6 months. Then you start understanding. And develop a taste for the Holy Name. Nandanam, Nadanam, Nasanam. Before the Tananda piece of Nitheda, Terarapi, Marina. First 2 verses you understand, then you understand.
Everyone has Swarupa. If that Swarupa only, they will get the same one. If that is the case, then if with that Swarupa, how they fall under this again makes the confusion for me. With Swarupa, it's like highest. How can they become all down? Very difficult to understand. Because
Don't try to find out how you have fallen. Try to find out how you can do this.
but it's correct. But how can someone either they don't have any Swarupa, later they will develop for like. Otherwise, if they are falling, then it's not
See,
possible.
when they did not mention what they are, eternally they are there.
Eternal they are there, but they are having the Swarupa, that is the question.
See, sometimes it is said when you fall in the spiritual body, कहीं खो गए थे. It's like just like a moment only. When the time the soul comes and go back. So
Not
it says, so how? You do a nimesha. Lord Vishnu does it. Like this, universe create and destroy. So suppose somebody lost in the spiritual world for a few minutes. Many universes will create, and by the time he'll be back. So just went to take a flower. अभी तक आया नहीं, थोड़ा झटका लग गया था. झटके में देखा कि सब हो गया, and he's back. There's also one explanation, right? But till the time you go back, you don't understand how. So don't worry, try to go back.
so everyone were existing in spiritual world with Swarupa because
So you don't have to so much type of it.
if that is the case, then again it disproves the other concept.
So listen, don't try to too much.
Particles,
Very difficult. So just go back. Just try to love Krishna, go back, go back. If you see, Prabhupada is very clearly talk about go back to Godhead. Bhagavatam doesn't talk much about it. Some. So consider it's too difficult to understand. Bhagavatam only speaks about that from our body of Mahavishnu, all souls come. It doesn't talk about from where the Souls come to the body of Mahavishnu.
Again, this like souls come from Mahavishnu, right? Creation by Vishnu. Then souls were existing before also with Vishnu only eternally. And how can they come from Vishnu? Then again, it's a confusing.
They were situated in the body of Mahavishnu. They were not created. They were there from the previous creation. Now they are coming out.
When they started, like not the creation,
It's eternal.
then it's so eternal they were there. Like how
Not
can we
some jivas are coming, some jivas are
souls are from the created. So from the main.
souls are never created. Now they are the souls are not created. And they come from many purposes. As soon as some souls are liberated, many souls are waiting to take birth. Incomprehensible. And the debate also falls on Jiva. Nothing falls on the spiritual.
This concept also again Nitya Siddhas and the others. Again,
Sadhana.
this is called Asadha Siddha. Then again, these two concepts also.
See one thing.
Okay, someone is like from eternally is Nitya and someone is like Sadhaka, eternal, like, and he will become Nitya Siddha later. This part.
See, Nitya Siddha means he comes from the spiritual world for the purpose of preaching. So he doesn't forget who he is. Sadhana means he had been in the material world and now he became Siddha to attain his spiritual position in the spiritual world.
Okay, so, but how can these two things can exist? If both are like in spiritual world only.
Why one come for the purpose of preaching? One experience in the material. Was it just separated from Krishna? So moment thought came of separation from Krishna, even in his Sarupa, came to this world. There's a movement thought, and a movement coming, and a movement going back. But many universal creation paths by time. Because such a scale is incomprehensible for us.
You said to achieve like game to reconcile. So what about this?
This is true to follow Brahmacharya.
Okay. Brahmacharya.
Thank God Hari and Sita they gave attraction to each other. Don't engage in sex life. बच्चे कितने 2-3 बच्चे हो गए 5-10 साल में 2-3 बच्चे हो जाएंगे बाद में क्या करोगे husband wife they are there to this did not happen proposal has sex life only for producing children अब क्या करोगे ब्रह्मचर्य रहो ना फिर But do not have all that tension, no? But he is a Manjari. He's a Nitya Siddha.
Nityavata and Nitya. So Nitya word actually like eternal. So like if you could also explain that Nityavata is that from so long that Jiva is in this world, so we say that Nitya. But the word like eternally, so but Jiva is never Baddha because he was in spiritual world. He has fallen out from spiritual world. So how can we apply the word like Nitya Baddha? Because before he was not fallen, he has come from spiritual world.
But this matter since long is there. So we never know when he time free.
Law of relativity.
Okay, so I think tomorrow's session will take Bhav and Prema Bhakti. But you enjoyed this section, right? Now Bhav Bhakti here. Now how to know somebody is a Bhav Bhakti? With these other 9 symptoms.
Is it one of them? What is the first one?
11:30 to 1 p.m. 11 or 11:30? 11 o'clock. Sundar Shankar will take.
Okay.
Mostly in ashram or here last. Surati Awas, Surati. No, okay, no. But you very like, no, Dhamma versus Vrindavan, other Rajas is land. And that is the line. But Dhava was trying to take the dust, na? To follow in their footsteps.
So Vrindavan was asking Ragatmika and Uddhava was Ragatmika.
And Uddhava did not want to become gopis, but he wanted to taste the devotion. His original Sarup was Uddhava.
So what do they come from Uddhava? Like from Vrajvasi it's Ragatmika, and for Uddhava, what is the word? Like pure devotee.
Sakha, Daita.
But with Aishwarya love, like he knows the powers of Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. I think online devotees understood something. What time you joined Raghanuga?
10 minutes.
I think 4 o'clock, 4:30 we started saying. That was a new topic. So like Prabhuji was tomorrow morning. Already 3 hours is sitting at the stretch. So, Hare Krishna.